the line must be drawn here. Let's get reacquainted with slope. Solve for y, write the equation of a line, and graph. The general equation for a line is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. When writing the equation of a line, we have to put it in y equals mx plus b form. In number 1, they give us the slope, m is equal to 1/2, and the y-intercept, b is equal to 4. So setting up the equation, y equals mx plus b, the general form for the equation of a line, we're going to put the number in for m, which is 1/2. We're going to put the number in for b, which is 4. So the equation we were looking for in number 1 is y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Next, number 2, the slope is negative 2/3 and the y-intercept is negative 1. So the equation we're looking for is y equals negative 2/3 x minus 1. Third, if we have a slope of 0, that would be y equals 0x and a y-intercept of 3 plus 3. That would give us the equation y equals 3. That is the equation of a horizontal line. A horizontal line has a slope of 0. Solve for y and state the slope and y-intercept. 2y equals 7x minus 10. So to solve for y, the first thing we're going to do is divide both sides by 2. On the left-hand side, the 2's will cancel to equal 1, so we'll have 1y. On the right-hand side, we split this up, and we get 7/2 x minus 10/2. But 10/2 is really 5, so we can just write minus 5. So there's the answer to number 4. Next, on number 5, we have 5x plus 3y equals 3. We're first going to bring the 5x to the other side by subtraction. Now, because 5x and 3 are unlike terms, we cannot put them together, so on the right-hand side, I must write this as negative 5x plus 3. On the left-hand side, I will have 3y. Next, I would divide by both sides by 3. And that'll give me y equals negative 5/3 x plus 1. There's the answer to number 5. Number 6. To get y by itself, we first subtract x on both sides, and we get negative 6y is equal to negative x plus 12. Then by dividing both sides by negative 6, these negative 6's cancel to 1, and so we just have 1y. And this part right here is a negative 1 over a negative 6x. This part right here is a negative 12 over 6. We can do a better job of simplifying that by writing y equals 1/6 x, because a negative divided by a negative is positive, minus 2. That's the answer to number 6. The graph we did in class looks something like this. We have 3y plus 6 equals x, and we need to put this in y equals mx plus b form first. So we're going to subtract 6 on both sides, followed by dividing by 3 on both sides. And although I didn't show it here, I did divide both parts by 3, and I got y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Starting with the y-intercept of -2, we're going to go on the y-axis and find -2, which is right here because I went from 0 down 2 units. And we're going to use the fact that the slope is equal to the rise over the run. From that starting point, we have a rise of 1 and a run of 3. So we count up 1 and over 3, get a point. Up 1 over 3, mark another point. Up 1 over 3, mark another point. And once we have a few points plotted, we can then sketch with a straight edge, as best as possible, a line through these points. I'm going to label my line y equals 1/3 x minus 2, or you could label it with the original equation if you like. And there we have it, our linear graph. In today's lesson, we talked about slope formula, and in yesterday's lesson, we talked about the equation of a line. In number 1, we discussed the fact that a vertical line has the equation x equals a number, such as you see here. This line right here has the equation x equals 5. What is its slope? Well, its slope, let's try to figure this out. If we pick 2 points on this line and try to use the slope formula, it would tell the tale of what kind of slope it is. In general, you should know that a vertical line has an undefined slope. The slope is not defined. It's not equal to 0. It's not equal to a positive number. It's not equal to a negative number. It is not defined. So m, if we were to find it, would be used by the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I pick, let's say, this point right here, that's the point 5, 0. And let's say I go up like, 6 units. That's the point 5, 6. So what would be the slope of the line between these 2 points? Well, if we were to do y2 minus y1, maybe we do 6 minus 0, and x2 minus x1 would be 5 minus 5. The problem is we get 6 divided by 0, which is a problem. You cannot divide by 0. This is undefined. So whenever you divide by 0, you get something that is not a fraction, it is not a number, it is not defined. Alright, so I'm going to go through each one of these problems pretty quickly, so just follow through with me and pause the video if you have any questions. Alright, so number 2, we have 2y equals x minus 4, and we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. Okay, canceling there, we're going to get 1y, and on the right hand side we're going to have 1/2 x minus 2. Number 3, we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we're going to get y is equal to 5/2 x plus 2. For number 4, we need to get y by itself, so first thing we'll do is subtract 4x to the other side. Then we're going to divide by 3 to give us negative 4/3 x plus 7/3. You'll be mastering this in no time. Alright, so number 5, we're going to bring the 4x to the other side by subtracting it to the other side and get negative 4x plus 12, followed by dividing by 3 and getting negative 4/3 x plus 12/3, which is really just 4. Number 6, we have Negative 7y equals negative 3x plus 9 by subtracting 3x to the other side. And when I divide by negatives, it's going to change the signs of everything. So y is equal to positive 3/7 x and negative 9/7. That's the answer to number 6. Number 7, we're going to first we're going to add 16 to the other side. So 3x minus 4y equals 16. We can then follow that up by subtracting 3x to the other side. So negative 4y is going to equal negative 3x plus 16. And the last step is going to be to divide by negative 4. So we're going to get y is equal to positive 3/4 x minus 4, because 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. Moving right along. Number 8, we're going to subtract... No, here we're actually going to add 10x to the other side. Following that up by dividing everything by 5. And we get a nice equation here. Y equals 2x minus 3. Okay, the line represented by the equation 2y minus 3x equals 4 has what kind of a slope? So I'm writing the equations of these. I haven't really answered the questions as to what their slopes are. We'll go back and just really quickly answer all of that at the very end. So the line represented by the equation here, we're going to manipulate it so that it is in, again, the form y equals mx plus b, also known as the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 3x to the other side and divide by 2. Y equals 3/2 x plus 2. For number 10, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And what we get there is just y plus 8 on one side and 4/3 x on the other. I'm going to subtract 8 then to the other side, getting the y by itself. So 4/3 x minus 8 equals y, or swapping that around, y is equal to 4/3 x minus 8. Alright, question number 11. Which linear equation represents a line that has a slope of 2/3? Well, let's take a look at what each one of these looks like. If I carefully highlight one at a time, this is a number times y equals a number times x plus another number. In other words, all of these we will see are some number times y, which in order to solve for y equals mx plus b form, I have to get y alone, and so the way that I'm going to do that for each one of these choices is divide by the number in front of y. So in choice 1, what I'm really interested in was what happens to the number in front of the x in all of these when I divide by y. Divide by the number that's in front of y. So for choice 1, I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So the number in front of the x will become negative 3 over negative 2, which is just 3/2. Okay, so that's not a slope of 2/3, which is my goal. So choice number 1 is not the right one. If I look at choice number 2 and divide everything by negative 3, the number in front of x is going to be 2 divided by negative 3. And that's not the slope I want, because it's negative. So choice 2 is not going to work for us. Number 3, if I divide the number in front of x by 3, I'll have a slope of negative 2/3. And again, that's negative, so that's not what I want. And finally, in choice 4, if I divide the number in front of x by 3, or everything else by 3, I'll get a slope of 2/3, and that is what I want. So choice 4 for number 11 is the correct one. So we have the equation 3x minus 2y equals 12. So rearranging some terms, negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 12, or y is equal to 3 halves x minus 6. So if y equals 3 halves x minus 6, then this thing has a slope of 3 halves and a y-intercept of negative 6. Choice 1. And so that's it. Here are your solutions. Not too bad. The equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. The slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is equal to m, which is the slope. That's what you're responsible for learning this week. Equation of a line, how to find the equation of a line given some coordinate points, along with finding the slope given some coordinate points. Keep up the good work and keep being awesome.